What if you could build wealth, maybe even reach financial freedom with almost no risk? Sounds impossible, right? But what if some of the most successful people in history, think Bill Gates, Richard Branson, have actually done just that? Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a stack of sources centered on the fascinating insights of self-made millionaire and investor Mohnish Pabrai. Our mission: to uncover a kind of playbook for building life-changing wealth, maybe even quitting that 9 to 5. We want to pull out the simple tools, the frameworks these billionaires used, and see how you can apply them. Moving from just information overload to those aha moments. We'll start by unpacking a concept called the Dunho investor.
Right, Danho. It's a Gujarati word from Western India.
Greece region, yeah.
Exactly. And literally it means business.
Yeah.
But the deeper meaning, the one Pabrai focuses on, is doing business where the downside's tiny, like almost non-existent.
The classic heads I win, tails I don't lose much.
That's the essence of it. Low risk, higher return potential.
Okay, so let's dive into that. Pabrai really challenges our thinking about starting a business. We're often told, you need this brilliant original idea. What's his counterintuitive take? Why does he say cloning is actually so powerful?
Well, it's a big shift in mindset, isn't it? We naturally resist just copying.
Yeah, feels like cheating somehow.
Kind of. But Pabrai argues being a great cloner puts you like 90% ahead. The genius isn't just copying, it's using the fact that someone else already proved there's demand. There's a working model.
So it cuts down the risk and the learning curve.
Dramatically. You already know people want it. So you can focus on doing it better or cheaper or just differently enough. Look at Microsoft.
Good example.
Pretty much everything they nailed was cloned. Word came from WordPerfect, Excel from Lotus. Even Bing is basically a Google clone attempt. Gates wasn't necessarily the innovator. He was a master cloner and executor.
And it's not just tech. I mean, Sam Walton.
Richest family in the world, right?
Yeah. And he openly admitted, I had no original ideas. Walmart just cloned Sears and Kmart initially. He was obsessed with visiting other stores, looking for little things he could copy or improve. Even admired a candle display in a store he thought was terrible otherwise.
That's a great story. And Starbucks, too. Howard Schultz saw the coffee shop culture in Italy.
And brought it to the U.S.
Yes, exactly. He adapted it brilliantly. Didn't invent coffee, just the experience here. So what this means for you, listening, is you don't have to invent the next iPhone.
Right.
Look at what's working and figure out your angle, your improvement.
Okay, another mind bender from Pabrai. This idea that entrepreneurship isn't the big risk. He actually suggests a 9 to 5 job is the real risk. Because it might stop you from, as he puts it, getting your music out, living your passion. How does that work?
It's about how you define risk. A Danho entrepreneur actively tries to eliminate risk. They use cloning. They test ideas cheaply. They aim for that heads I win, tails I don't lose much setup. A job feels safe day to day. Sure, predictable income. But the hidden risk is opportunity cost. Are you spending your one life doing something that doesn't fulfill you? That's the real gamble, potentially. It pays the rent, but maybe not your soul,
And the numbers are kind of stark. Some research shows 12% of people actively hate their jobs.
It's truly unsatisfying.
And globally, something like 85% are disengaged, just going through the motions. So if that sounds like this deep dive is probably hitting home. But how do you actually do it? How do you chase that passion without just quitting your job and hoping for the best?
Okay, this is where his Lego blocks analogy comes in. So reclaiming your time. Picture your week. You've got, say, 8 hours sleep a night. That's a block. 40 hours work. Your 9 to 5, that's a big blue block.
Okay.
Then maybe 4 hours a day for chores, commute, dinner, getting ready, weekends, maybe more. And then you have what's left. The orange blocks. Your free time, Netflix, social media, hanging out.
Right, the stuff we do to unwind.
Exactly. Now, Pabrai's tweak is simple, but powerful. Keep the 9 to 5 for now. Someone else is paying your bills, right?
Sensible.
But dial back your performance there, just enough to not get fired. Conserve your energy, your best energy.
So not slacking off completely, but reprioritizing where your peak focus goes.
Precisely. Because you're going to take those orange free time blocks and turn them into yellow blocks. Time dedicated purely to your startup, your project.
Your music.
Your music. Pabrai's own schedule when he started was intense. Like 7 to 9 a.m., then 6 p.m. to 10 or even midnight on weekdays, plus 10 hours each day on weekends. All yellow blocks.
Wow, that's commitment.
It has to be. And here's the key. The yellow work must feel more exciting, more compelling than the orange stuff. If Netflix still feels like the better option,
then maybe it's not the right music yet.
Or you haven't found the right way into it. It has to pull you in. So the big question for you is, what is your music? That thing the world needs that you're passionate about creating. It's not just about the money that's a byproduct. It's about delivering something amazing.
Okay, so you found your music, you're carving out those yellow blocks. But Pabrai warns whatever your initial idea is, it's probably not perfect right out of the gate.
Almost certainly not. Your idea, hatched in your, ivory tower or just between your ears, is maybe 40% right. Maybe 70% if you're lucky.
So you need to test it, rapid prototyping.
Exactly. The whole point of a business is creating value customers want. Money follows value. So step one, show your thing, your prototype, your service idea to real humans. Get it out there.
He tells a great story about this from his early IT business days.
Yeah, the bank executive meeting.
That's the one. He's presenting his services, gets past slide 10, and the exec stops him. Go back to slide 10. That's all I care about.
Brutal honesty.
Totally. But that one slide hit an extreme pain point for the client, ignored everything else, and Pabrai walked out of that meeting with a purchase order.
See, the customer told him exactly what to focus on. That's separating the signal from the noise. He went back, ditched the other stuff, and built the business around that one valuable service.
It's about listening way more than talking.
10 times more listening. Like Google Glass, great tech maybe, but they didn't listen enough about ergonomics, how people actually felt wearing them. Compare that to Meta partnering with Ray-Ban, making smart glasses that look, well, normal.
Because people told them they wouldn't wear weird-looking tech on their face.
Right. Your brain alone is too small to figure it all out.
Yeah.
You need that external feedback. So talk less, listen more, be ready to pivot.
We often think of these successful founders as making big, bold moves all the time, grand gestures. But you're saying it's often more about precision, discipline.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's often a game of inches applied relentlessly. Think back to Sam Walton choosing Walmart.
Because it was 7 letters.
Yeah. Save money on signage. Sounds tiny, right?
Yeah.
But that mentality, squeezing costs, being hyper-efficient, permeated everything Walmart did.
And that applies even in luxury. Seems counterintuitive.
You'd think so. But look at LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, super high-end stuff. But Pabrai points out it's an incredibly tightly run operation behind the scenes. Their CEO apparently negotiates absolutely mind-blowing real estate deals, ruthless on costs where it matters.
So it's a mindset that compounds. Lots of small, disciplined decisions add up.
Exactly. Because costs are one of the few things in business you can almost always control directly. Margins might fluctuate, demand might change, but you can control your spending. That discipline, applied consistently, makes a huge difference long term.
Okay, let's talk about money. Lots of people get stuck here. I need huge investment to start. But Pabrai argues most startups now are capital light, need more brains than cash.
Yeah, and he gives that wild example. Starting an airline with zero capital.
Richard Branson, right. Virgin Atlantic. How did he pull that off?
Pure hustle and creative thinking. He apparently called Boeing something like 30 times. Finally got someone in leasing, found out they had a used 747 just sitting on the tarmac, not earning anything.
So he got it cheap.
He got it free initially, leased it. Then the genius part. He sold tickets months in advance, used that cash flow. He only had to pay for the fuel and the plane lease after the first flights landed, and he had the revenue. Absolutely brilliant. Replaced capital with ingenuity.
That's incredible. And Pabrai himself.
Yeah.
He didn't raise millions, did he?
Nope. Started his IT business with $70,000 from credit card lines, basically high-interest debt, and $30,000 pulled from his 401k. Risky-sounding moves, maybe?
Yeah, a bit.
But he's cash flow positive in just 9 months. And here's another key Dondo element. He had a free shot. His old employer told him, if this fails in a year, come back. We'll even give you a promotion.
Wow. That removes a huge amount of personal risk.
Totally. It let him take the leap without fearing utter ruin. That's minimizing downside. So the point is, if Branson can figure out how to start an airline with no upfront capital, you can probably figure out how to start your business, whatever it is, with very little money too. It's about smarts, not just stacks of cash.
Okay, you've got the idea, maybe bootstrapped it, you're dedicating the time. Now customers. How do you get them? This feels like where many people hit a wall and maybe give up too soon.
Yeah, resilience is crucial here. And it often comes down to the law of averages, just putting in the reps. Pabrai's own story is telling. When he started, he sent 200 customized physical letters every single week.
200 a week?
To senior IT folks. Then a week later, he'd make 200 follow-up phone calls. Then more calls. He tracked everything meticulously in his sales funnel, didn't stop until he got a definite yes or a definite no.
He mentioned something about customizing the letters.
Yeah, using the recipient's shortened name, like Bob instead of Robert, made it look personal so it got past the gatekeepers more often. He found physical mail was a high signal channel, less crowded than email.
That's a world away from sending like 6 emails, getting no reply, and deciding the idea's dead.
Exactly. It reminds me of Michael Jordan's line, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You have to take enough shots, enough swings to even know what your success rate is.
Right, to get the data.
Precisely.
Right.
And it's not just him. His daughter wanted a hedge fund job. Tough gig to land. She sent out 1,200 physical letters.
1,200.
Yeah. But each one included a stock tip she'd researched and written up. Think about that. High signal channel physical mail again. High emotional impact, giving something valuable up front. She stood out from the digital noise, got the job.
That's brilliant. So the question for you listening becomes, what data are you actually trying to get? Are you making enough attempts, enough swings to get a real measurable result that tells you if you're on the right path or need to adjust?
Couldn't say it better.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Pabrai isn't just an entrepreneur. He's known as a really sharp investor, too. And he has some simple, powerful ideas for building wealth over time. Starts with a math trick.
Yeah, the rule of 72. Super simple, super powerful. He wishes they taught it in high school.
How does it work?
It estimates how long it takes for your money to double at a given annual rate of return. Just divide 72 by the interest rate. So if you're getting, say, 7% a year.
72 divided by 7 is about 10.
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
Your money doubles about every 10 years, at 10%. It doubles roughly every 7.2 years. It gives you a quick gut check on the power of compounding.
And to really illustrate compounding, there's that famous Manhattan story.
Ah, yes, 1623. The Dutch settlers supposedly buying Manhattan Island from the Native Americans for about $23 worth of goods.
And the narrative is usually, wow, they got ripped off.
Right, but Pabrai flips it using compounding. What if that $23 was invested, let's say at a modest 7% annual return?
Okay.
By 1723, 100 years later, it's $23,000. Another 100 years, 1823, it's $23 million. By 1923, $23 billion. And by 2023, hold on, a staggering $23 trillion.
23 trillion from $23.
Trillion with a T. Now consider the entire wealth of the U.S. today is around $150 trillion. That $23 compounded would be a massive chunk of it.
So his point is they weren't necessarily taken, they just lacked a good investment advisor for the next 400 years.
Huh? Basically, yes. It just shows the absolutely mind-blowing nonlinear power of long-term compounding. If your time horizon is long enough, the starting amount almost doesn't matter as much as just getting started and letting it grow.
So what are the simple principles for someone starting out?
First, the absolute foundation. Spend less than you earn. Save consistently. Pabrai says, save the first dollar, not the last. Make it automatic. Second, start young if you can. Time is your biggest asset. Money invested at 22 has decades longer to compound than money invested at 42. That early money does the heaviest lifting.
And you don't need to be a stock-picking genius, right? No need to find the next NVIDIA.
Absolutely not. That's heroic, and most people fail at it. He says just put it into a broad index fund, set it, and largely forget it.
Explain what an index fund is quickly.
Sure. It's like buying a tiny piece of lots of companies all at once. An S&P 500 index fund, for example, holds stocks in the 500 largest, most dominant U.S. companies. Or you could even just buy shares in Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, which itself owns a diverse portfolio. It's diversified, low cost, and historically provides solid returns over the long run.
And the impact over time can be huge, even with small amounts.
Definitely. Take $5,000, invest it at age 18, assume a 10% average annual return, which is roughly the historical stock market average. By age 68, 50 years later, using that rule of 72, it doubles roughly every 7 years. That $5,000 becomes over $500,000.
Wow. From one $5,000 investment. Imagine doing that for a few years when you're young.
Exactly. It's life-changing wealth built steadily, not through risky bets. Which brings us to...
You day trading. All those ads targeting young people.
Yeah, Pabrai is pretty dismissive. He says the only people consistently making money from day trading are the brokers from commissions. You just don't find day traders on the Forbes list of the world's wealthiest people. It's gambling, mostly.
So instead of rapid trading, the idea is fewer, better bets.
Exactly. Warren Buffett has this analogy. Imagine you have a punch card with only 20 punches on it for your entire investing life.
20 investments total.
That's the idea. It forces you to think really hard about each decision. Because the reality is, maybe 4% of companies generate almost all the stock market's long-term returns. Most stocks are duds. An index fund helps you capture those winners automatically.
And if you do manage to pick one of those big winners, or it's in your index, the next challenge is actually holding on to it.
Ah, yes. Circling the wagon.
Which comes from
19th century pioneers crossing the American plains. When attacked, they'd circle their wagons for defense. In investing, it means defending your best holdings, your multi-baggers, the ones that go up 10x, 50x, 100x, by not selling them too early.
because that's where the real wealth is generated.
That's where the compounding magic happens. Buffett says maybe only a dozen or so investments at Berkshire truly moved the needle significantly. His genius was largely in never selling those core winners.
And Pabrai admits he's made this mistake.
Oh, yeah. He calls them mistakes of omission, selling winners too soon. He gives the example of investing in Fiat Chrysler. At the time, Fiat owned 80% of Ferrari.
Okay.
When Ferrari was spun off and went public, Pabrai sold his Fiat shares, thinking he'd captured the value unlock from Ferrari.
Makes sense on the surface.
But then Ferrari's stock price just kept soaring, way beyond what he expected. He calculated later he probably missed out on making an extra $1 billion just from that one decision to sell too early.
Ouch. $1 billion mistake.
Painful lesson. So the question for you is, once you identify a truly great business or investment, how do you develop the conviction and patience to hold on and let it compound? Don't cut your flowers to water the weeds.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Pabrai also talks about mental models beyond just finance. He mentions one from Adam Grant about givers and takers.
Yeah, it's a really powerful framework. Grant basically says humans fall into 3 broad categories: takers, matchers, and givers.
Takers are pretty obvious.
Right. Always trying to get more than they give, often by scamming or exploiting. They tend not to get very far in the long run.
Yeah.
Matchers operate on reciprocity. Quid pro quo, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's most people.
And givers.
Givers are focused on contributing, helping others, adding value, often without expecting an immediate return. And Grant's research found, perhaps counterintuitively, that givers are often the most successful group in the long run.
Interesting. Why is that?
Pabrai interprets it as, well, it's almost like the universe conspires to help them. When you genuinely try to help others build goodwill, that reputation compounds. Opportunities come to you, people want to work with you, help you out, often in unexpected ways. It's a form of non-financial compounding,
That makes sense. It builds trust and relationships.
which are huge assets in business and life.
Okay, another crucial area for anyone building something, recruiting. Pabrai highlights lessons from people like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs.
Yeah, their number one job arguably was recruiting top talent.
Why so critical?
Because, as Jobs famously said, A players want to work with A players. The moment you compromise and hire B players, they tend to hire C players, and it creates this downward spiral in quality and morale. Musk apparently personally interviewed the first 3,000 hires at SpaceX.
3,000. Wow, that's dedication.
Shows how vital he thought it was to set the standard from the beginning.
Wow.
Get the best people and empower them.
And it's not just about skills on a resume, right? Pabrai mentions testing.
Yeah, using free employment assessments like from Caliper or Culture Index to understand someone's innate traits, their hard wiring. Are they detail-oriented? A big-picture thinker? Good under pressure? It's not about finding clones of yourself. It's about finding people who are better than you at the specific things the role requires, things you might not be naturally good at, building a complementary team.
And if you make a hiring mistake,
Fire fast. It sounds harsh, but Pabrai argues it's kinder in the long run, both for the company and the individual. Keeping someone in a role where they aren't thriving isn't fair to anyone. Find the right fit, even if it means letting someone go quickly so they can find the right fit elsewhere.
and what are the absolute non-negotiables he looks for?
3 things, mainly: high intelligence, high energy or work ethic, and absolute integrity, total honesty. You can compromise on skills sometimes, maybe, because skills can be taught, but those 3 traits, much harder to change.
Got it. One last area that seems important in Pabrai's thinking. We get so caught up in tech startups, venture capital, but he emphasizes opportunities in more boring businesses.
Absolutely. He points out that something like 99.99% of all startups worldwide are not venture-backed tech companies.
Really? That high?
Yeah, think laundromats, restaurants, consulting, tradespeople, Amazon sellers.
Mhm.
The vast majority of businesses are solving everyday problems, often locally. The media loves the sexy tech stories, the unicorns, but that's a tiny sliver of the real economy.
So look for offering gaps, things that should exist but don't.
Exactly. He gives that great example of the barber. A barber in town A sees a new, growing town C nearby that has no barber shop. An obvious gap.
So what does he do?
Starts small, doesn't quit his main job. He subleases a tiny space in town C, maybe just a chair in another shop, buys some used equipment, cheap, starts working there just 1 day a week.
Testing the waters, low risk.
Totally Danto. Because there's no competition, he can charge more, say $45 instead of $30 in town A. Demand proves strong, so he adds another day, then another. Eventually, he builds a full-time, profitable business just by spotting and filling that simple local need.
And that leads to building moats, ways to protect the business.
Right. Durable moats. How do you stop competitors from easily copying you? In the barber's case, customer loyalty is a big one. People get attached to their barber. It's sticky. Other moats could be brand reputation, unique processes, network effects, or even things like membership fees.
Like Costco or Amazon Prime.
Perfect examples. Those fees create lock-in. Once you've paid, you feel compelled to use them more, making you less likely to shop elsewhere, even if prices are occasionally lower. It changes behavior.
And this connects to having a really long-term view, doesn't it? Like the IKEA founder.
Yeah, Ingvar Kamprad. Apparently, he thought in terms of a 500-year view for IKEA.
500 years, seriously.
Seems so. He famously avoided debt, funding expansion solely from profits. Slow, maybe, but incredibly solid. And he insisted that no two IKEA stores could be identical, forcing constant small innovations and improvements. It's about building something truly lasting, often by focusing on those seemingly boring fundamentals.
It really shows that just paying close attention to what people actually need, solving that problem with discipline, and thinking long-term, that's a powerful formula.
A very powerful, very Dantu formula.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Today, we've done a real deep dive into Mohnish Pabrai's powerful ideas. We looked at the counterintuitive edge of cloning.
How entrepreneurs actually minimize risk, not embrace it blindly.
Right. The magic of compounding, the rule of 72, and why you need to circle the wagons around your big investment winners.
We also touched on the importance of really listening to customers, that relentless cost discipline, and just taking more swings, putting in the work, like sending those 200 letters a week.
Yeah. These ideas, they really challenge a lot of the standard advice about business and investing, don't they?
They really do.
They suggest that real wealth, real freedom, maybe it doesn't come from chasing the hottest new thing or trying to be some kind of rock star genius.
Maybe it comes from consistent, low-risk, high-conviction actions.
Yeah.
Patience, discipline, over a long, long time.
So as you listening reflect on all this, maybe consider this final thought. What music are you holding back from the world right now? And maybe more importantly, what's one Danto principle, just one small thing we talked about today that you could apply this week to start getting that music out there with minimal downside?